Hello everyone, welcome to the Let's Integrate video series where we will discuss an integration scenario that's done in real-time business in Dynamics 365 and Power Platform projects. It could vary from simple to complex integration. Integration could be within the Microsoft product suite, or it could be with any third-party applications as well. In every episode, we invite a special guest to share their experience about an integration scenario that they work with, so that it could help everyone. So, we discuss 3 key points in every episode. Firstly, what is the integration is going to about, where a briefing of the integration use case is shared. Secondly, how it helped the business or how it added value to their project. Well, ideally it covers the problems that the integration solved. Then, briefing about how it is done, where the guest will brief about the details of it at a high level. Finally, as an add-on, a guest might enlighten us by showing a quick demo if possible. Let's jump into the action and start with our today's episode. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Let's Integrate video series. I am Jiva and with me today is Kasun Pathirana. Kasun is currently living with his family in Auckland, working as a consultant at DXC Technology. He is from Sri Lanka and he has 12 years of industry experience with 9 years of experience in AX or D365 F&O, worked in several organizations and worked in different countries like Sri Lanka, Singapore, and now in New Zealand. He is a business application evangelist and active community contributor, co-organizing Sri Lanka Microsoft BizApps UG, and one of the ASEAN's community leads, and also a community lead at TDG, and actively participating in other global events as well. Let's see what Kasun has for us today. Hi Kasun, thanks for joining today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about you, Jiva?
I'm doing well, bro. Thank you. So I think it's been a year since we met and had a beer.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's been more than 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, we had a great time in Singapore.
Yeah, we used to meet often, right? Like once in 2 weeks, at least once in a month for the UG, and then we roam around. The after UG part was the craziest part, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Time, right?
Yeah, those are great days. Yeah.
Yeah, and how's it going in Auckland, man?
Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, he is also pretty well, and we just came out from the lockdown, and all those things are going pretty well now. Yeah, things are moving.
Oh, you people are going to office now?
Yeah, depends on, some people are going to the offices. It depends on what you are basically doing. So some people can work from home and some will go back to the offices. So yeah, it depends on your job, what you're doing and the task and stuff like that. So yeah, mostly, the companies are preferring to work from home as well. So if you can give the opportunity, they'll give that opportunity to work from home so that it's helping everyone, in this pandemic situation.
Lucky us, people like us who are working in IT, programmers, we do get this level, privilege of working from home. All right, so I'm so excited, man, to have you today. So what have you got for us?
Yeah, I'll be talking about the D365 FinOps integration with the third-party system. So we'll run through a scenario explaining on the how we can integrate with D365 FinOps, what are the options and what are the scenarios, and some of the use cases, so that we'll get a better understanding on the integrations with D365 FinOps.
Okay, so it's basically we're going to talk about integration with Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation with any other systems, whoever want to integrate.
Any other third-party applications. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm so excited. There is not much, finance and operations content available because it's not easy to get a trial instance, all those difficulties. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Let's see. You want to share your screen or show anything?
Yeah, I'll share my screen and start. So hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, well and good.
Yeah. So a bit about myself. Yeah, I'm Kasun Pathirana. So as you introduced myself, And I work at DXC Technology as a consultant, and I have 9+ years of experience in the AXN related F&O products. And I've involved heavily in the community as well. So if you can find me in the D365 bits in for the YouTube, and also for the website as well, and the Twitter as well, going under the same name. And then the LinkedIn, you can find me if you scan the QR code. So let's get back to the integration scenarios. So let's look at the D365 FinOps integration patterns that we have. So including the integration to any other D365 applications, as well as the other options that we have, which we can use for third-party applications. So let's go through one by one. Let's see the dual write. So dual write is where you can, it's actually a synchronous method, and also it is bi-directional as well. And it has near real-time experience between model-driven applications in Dynamics 365 and finance and operations applications. And this will be suitable for interactive business scenarios that span across the D365 applications. And the second one will be classic data integration. And classic data integration provides asynchronous and unidirectional data synchronization experience between model-driven applications in D365 and D365 FinOps applications. And next up is the OData. So you could use the OData as well as an option of integration. And the next one is the batch data API. So it could have two different methods, like recurring integrations and data management package REST API. So about the recurring integrations, it builds on data entities, and the data management framework enables the exchange of documents or files between finance and operations and any third-party application or service. And on the REST API part is actually can be used for both cloud deployments on premises as well. And the next up is the custom services, so where you use the custom code for the integration patterns. And then this is about the consuming external web services, again using the custom code. So we'll talk about that later on. And the next up is the Excel integration, which we'll use for to connect with the OData services that are exposed, that are created and exposed to the public, so that you can consume those within the Excel. And there are some other aspects that you need to consider as well with these integration patterns, like whether it's asynchronous or synchronous, and like frequency, volume. So there are multiple factors that you need to factor in. And let's look at some of the things that you could consider when you're doing an integration like this. So let's look at some of these aspects that you can look at and consider. Okay, so the first part will be performing business analysis for mapping of fields. So that actually helps you to do the business analysis and mapping of fields between the third-party system as well as the D365 FinOps. And the next up is the parameter changes that you require from both sides, so which will be in the third-party system as well as in the FinOps side as well. So you would require some parameter changes or from the both sides to incorporate. And then some of the customizations, customization will be also required from the both sides to incorporate and do these integrations and stuff like that. And the next up is selecting the pattern of integration, which we were talking about earlier. So there are a lot of options on the pattern of integration. So what pattern that you're going to select. And then the other thing will be like identifying other critical factors that you need to have, that you need to consider these critical factors, such as like frequency, volume of data, and any other relevant information which would be helpful for taking the decision. So these are the things that you need to consider as critical factors when you're taking the decisions, as well as the integration architecture that you're going to use. And the last up is documentation. So documentations are also critical So you would have these documentation carrying out all the field mappings or any other important features, customizations that you would require, and the parameters and everything is documented, so that that's going to be really vital and helpful for you when you're doing these integrations. So these are the things that you can consider when you're doing an integration with FinOps. That matter, like the third party applications, that's the scenario that we're going to talk about. So these things are going to help for you. Yeah.
So yeah, so these things that we say things are considered, or the steps, or I can also say these are the sequence of process that we follow when we do the integrations, isn't it?
It's not a sequence. Yeah, it might be different. I'm just putting the steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these are all different processes that can be followed.
Yeah, these are the things that these are the things that you can consider, but it's not in a process format. It's like I didn't put it in a proper format. Yeah.
But high level, yeah, these are the
these things. Are the high level. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, next up, let's go into the file-based integration. So the scenario that we're going to talk about today. And file-based integration is somewhat very common way to make integrations between an D365 FinOps or any other ERP system with a third-party application. And definitely you can leverage on the cloud services. So here in the example, you can see the Azure blob storage in between FinOps and the third party. And you could also leverage on like Azure Logic Apps as well. So there are a lot of options, but in this example, I'm going to talk about the Azure blob storage scenario. And once you have when you have this kind of integration, you would also have several folders inside the Azure blob storage. So for an example, you might have like inbound, outbound folder. So inbound is which is if you're doing it from the FinOps side. So the inbound will be the one which will be coming from the third-party system, and the outbound is where you're going to send the files for the pickup for the third-party system, and then you'll probably have another folder called processed or completed. So that will be having the completed files in that folder, and then you will have any errors occur. You probably have a separate folder for the errors, and then for the backups, you'll have a separate folder for the backups. All these files and folders inside the Azure blob storage. So let's talk about the example. So here in the example that we're going to talk about is any third-party software program that uses the freight management system. So let's say probably it's a DOS-based system. Let's imagine that's a DOS-based system, which is a freight management system as well, and which will help to integrate with the D365 finance and operations to calculate the freight recovery and freight cost. And you probably would wonder, like in the transport management as well, there are some capabilities that you can calculate the freight cost, but probably the reason behind this kind of integrations may be because there are a lot of other factors that you need to consider, because there are a lot of rich capabilities within the other applications and industry based as well. So there are a lot of other capabilities within it. So that's why these kind of integrations happens because of these the factors which need to be considered on the situation or based on the scenario as well. So yeah. So let's look at, let's more focus on the integration scenario. So let's imagine a scenario that you, as an example of a user, you will create a sales order within the D365 FinOps system. So let's say you create a sales order within the D365 FinOps and add in a, let's say, item A to the sales line and perform release to warehouse. And then you pick and pack the goods, right? And then you will create a delivery note. So once you create a delivery note, then you would need to probably send those information back to the third party. So how we would do is you will probably have a button and then export in a file back to the Azure blob storage. And then this file will be imported back to the third-party system by import method, right? And yeah, and then what will happen is the user will perform the actions in the third-party application. So they will do probably printing labels and all these, selecting carriers and selecting the correct carrier, and then printing labels and all those other aspects that they're gonna perform it. And once they perform everything, what they will do is they will export the file to Azure Blob Storage. So that's what is the export file from the third-party system to the Azure Blob Storage. And from the Azure Blob Storage, the file will be picked up. There will be a running batch job, and it can go and fetch the file from the Azure Blob Storage, and then it will be processed in the FinOps, and then the charges will be incorporated. The freight charges will be incorporated with the sales order. So that's what's going to what's happened. So these charges will be then will be calculated inside that third-party system. It will be probably calculated based on the type of the package, dimensions, weight, and all the services that you picked up, and then it will give you the correct the cost and stuff, the charges, and then it will be the one which will be putting into the Azure Blob Storage, and then the FinOps will be taking that file. So that's what going to be the full scenario of what's going to happen in this case. And the first time I'm going to talk about the file-based integration, and the next one I'll show you how it will look like with the custom integrations, because this method will be could be time consuming, because it needs time to fetch the files and stuff like that. So let's look at.
So it's not a real-time synchronization, isn't it?
It's not a real-time synchronization. Yeah, that's correct, Jiva. So it'll be based on the system. Each system needs to get and fetch the data and fetch the file, and then process it. So that will have some kind of a time-consuming base for those activities. So it will not be a near real-time experience. So that's why we look at the other scenario as well, in custom integration. Yeah.
Got it. So when the load is huge, and during those cases, I think this would be the ideal integration that you can opt for, right?
Yeah, all those factors need to be considered when you're doing this kind of integration. So the frequency and the volume, so all these things will come into the play. And then what is your business use case, and all those all those things will be factored in. Yeah, correct.
Perfect. But I really appreciate that you explained it when comparing, using a real-time use case about a freight system, and then with the finance and operation. It makes easy for me to follow what you are trying to say. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, later on we'll look into the small demo as well. So I'll show you what will happen. Yeah. So that will be a great that we can go through that as well. So next up, the custom integration. So I'll show on the custom integration. So the custom integration, this is the same example, but in this situation, what we use is the web service core, so custom services. So you can use the custom services. You have the capability of creating custom services for D365 FinOps. And the developers can write these customer services, and you can deploy using two endpoints. So basically you have AP SOAP endpoint, and which is somewhat similar that what you have used in the Dynamics AX 2012. And then you have JSON endpoint, so you could leverage on the JSON endpoint as well. This is a compact. As you know, compact, it's a lightweight format that is commonly used to communicate data between the client and the server. And then you can have a consume external web services inside the FinOps to consume the external web service call. So that's what's going to happen. So basically the same scenario, you'll perform a web service call to the third party, and the third party will get that information near real time, and then from the third party itself do a web service call back to the FinOps, and then it fetches the data and get updated. So that's how the same scenario with the it depends on the scenario that you use, but this is if it's in the cloud, it makes more sense to use this kind of a method. So that's the part. So probably we'll go to the system and maybe look at example. So that will be
absolutely.
that'll be good. So that we can understand on what's the scenario.
So while this thing is loading, I have one more. So when you're talking about the list of web services, is there any link from MS Docs or something like that that you can share so that I can share it in the description, so where people can go and look at the list of services that are available to talk to F&O?
Yeah, definitely I can share on the integration, the patterns, and all those information will be there so that you can look at the data integrations, and people can look for all these information and they can get more information into it. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's go to sales order. Let's find the sales order. So I'm going to the account receivable, all sales orders. So let's demo the kind of the thing that what the users will be doing. But in terms of the third party, we'll not have the third party, but I'll just demonstrate what's going to happen. Yeah, let's look at this scenario 810. That's the sales order. So if you look at the sales order, the status is actually delivered and released. So what happens basically in the process, user will be creating the sales order, and then they'll be entering the lines to the sales order. So in this case, there's only one line, item number KAS1997. So that's the item. So I have the quantity specified and the unit price. So what generally they will do is they'll go to the warehouse and release the warehouse and then complete the pick and put operation. So if you look at, in this case, work details, that's been completed. And let's go into that. So that's been completed in this case. So that's been done. And if I go to the load here, that's been also done and completed the packing slip here. So let's see, the packing slip has been done and that is being completed. So if you look at the load details, so that's the load in the shipped status already. And so once you are in this status shipped, and then you have the packing slip has been done, so either you'll have a button here in the load details or maybe in the sales order, and then you can press on that and then probably update back to the other system, so that the third party will fetch all the information, because that is actually a delivery note completed. Packing slip has been done in this load, so that all these information on the delivery note number, sales order number, and all the other relevant information will be passed back to the third party application. And from the third party application, then it'll be coming back, and so where you would see these information as the charges. So let's look at those charges in the system, where you can see, if you go to the cell tab under the charges, maintain charges, you will see these information here. So that's been come back and see. So in this case, I manually enter it, but what will happen is it will go back to the system, and then the system will come back, give you the information. So that information will be imported back as charges, and then you can utilize these charges in the system. So that is what's going to happen. That's a simple example, but there are a lot of other complicated or some extended scenarios as well within this, but that's an example. So either it could be a file-based, or either it could be the second scenario that we discussed. It could be the scenario where you use the web service call. So either one of them would be having the same method, but just that the web service call will be much faster than the file-based system. But depending on the scenario, we'll use the file-based system. Yeah. So that's the quick demo and overview what will happen with that system. Yeah.
So this is like one of the examples, classic examples that you can talk about when you are talking about the integration with the F&O and other systems, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is kind of a example that we can brought in to show on the integration scenario. Yeah, definitely.
Got it. Nice. I mean, I have no idea about what are all these different type of patterns because I just started to learn F&O, but I know it's not an easy one to do. Lots of it's a mammoth. right? It involves accounting and other process to learn. Let's see, hopefully, but I'm sure that it is going to be helpful for someone who's going to start doing integrations with the F&O and finance systems. I mean, other systems, right? All right. So I think this is one of the common integrations, a classic example to connect Dynamics 365 F&O and with other third-party systems, right? And I think like for a person like me who have no idea about F&O and the integration works, this is really helpful to see the patterns that is involved, the variety of patterns that is available, and also the things that needs to be considered while doing these kind of implementations. It's super helpful for me. Well, since you have done these kind of implementations, many times, so what are the typical problems or challenges that you have faced, which you can recollect, quickly, one or two? Can you please share that?
I can talk about one of the things is like in the custom integration, what I have faced is one of the issues is the security. So there's actually TLS or TLS 1.2. That's the transport layer security that you need to have. That's been previously it's been used the TLS 1.0 that is actually introduced in 1999, and it was deprecated in 2020. And similarly, TLS 1, which is also the transport layer security 1.1, which came after 1.0 in 2006, and it also deprecated in 2020. So one of the applications that I was working with the third parties, so that was actually having a lower level of the TLS 1.1 or 1.0. So it was not it gives us some errors as well, so that it has to be comply with the 1.2. So anyone who's doing these kind of integrations with custom integrations, so you need to make sure that you are with the TLS 1.2. Your other third-party application should be supporting the TLS 1.2.
Got it.
So that's going to be a good information for anyone who's doing these kind of integrations. So that's going to be one thing to consider, that your TLS 1.2 should be maintained in that. Yeah. So that's one I can bringing in Jiva at this moment.
Got it. Yeah. So I think that will be one of the pro tips, I would say, when whoever wants to implement any integration with F&O. So out of these two integration that you showed me, like the file sharing and the custom API integrations, so which one do you recommend to the customers?
Yeah, it depends on the scenario. So the first example I bring in is actually it's a DOS-based system, so it doesn't have any cloud integration as such. So we can't use the custom web calls and in that scenario. So in that scenario, it'll be best to adopt that kind of a method or another method. But given the fact that it actually, that why I want to highlight is that it depends on the scenario. Given the fact if it's a cloud version, I would say the custom integrations with the web calls would be ideal in the given example for the two scenarios. So you could have that custom integration because that will actually be near real time, and it doesn't need to wait for the files to be fetched as the first example. So it will not have that delay or the lag for you to when you operate with these integrations.
Got it. And also I think when you want to do asynchronous operations, you better opt the custom integrations, not a file sharing, right? And also because when you want, and I can think of when you want to do heavy operations, I think you can opt for file sharing because you don't want that to affect the business hours, right? Something like that. Got it. Makes sense.
It really depends on the scenario, and then also what you mentioned, like we touched upon the volume and the frequency. So all these things come in when you do this kind of integrations. Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. Well, thank you then, Kasun. I know it's damn late for you. I guess it's 12:30 at the night, and I'm so grateful that you managed to do this session for me. Again, big thanks to you. And it's a great use case. You have shown how typical integration with Dynamics 365 finance and operation and any other third-party system works.
Yeah.
And I also talked about all the generally used integration patterns, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would say there are not lots of contents available on this area, to discuss all those things. And this is something which also many people are looking for. So, and I know it's great that you brought this thing, and also you have shared your experience in implementing these kind of integrations and challenges, and like a pro tip that you shared with a quick demo. Well, it's again such a pleasure to have you today. Thanks again, Kasun. Take care and stay safe.
Yeah, thanks, Jiva. It's been a pleasure to be part of this episode. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, bro. I'll let you.
Bye.
Yeah, got it. So, thank you everyone again for watching. And if you want to learn more about the Dynamics 365 F&O and its integrations, you can follow Kasun's blog and YouTube channel, that is D365 Bits, right, Kasun?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can follow me in D365 Bits, and you can find me in the LinkedIn as well. Yep. If you want to reach it to me,
I'll put your blogs and YouTube channel links in the comments and the description, so that people can follow your contents. Well, yeah, thanks guys. Again, if you have any interesting integration use case with the Dynamics 365 or Power Platform within the Microsoft Suite or with any third-party application, and you would like to share it to the world like just Kasun did, leave your comments, or you can reach out to me in social media. See you in the next episode with a different use case. Thank you again. Please do like the video, share it if it's interesting. Also check the other videos in the Let's Integrate video series, and subscribe to my channel if you have not.